Watch, learn, speak English through documentaries. Introduction. Do you ever feel like learning English is hard work? Maybe you spend a lot of time with big books, trying to remember many words and confusing rules. You want to speak English easily, watch movies without reading words at the bottom, and talk with people. But sometimes, it feels like you can't get there. This is normal and it can make you feel sad. But what if there was a way to learn English that felt like fun, not work? What if you could learn by looking at things you already like cool animals, old stories, or amazing science? The old ways of learning English often make you focus only on the words and rules. You might learn words you will never use or study rules that don't seem to fit in real talking. This can make learning slow and boring. When something is not interesting, it is hard to remember. It's like eating plain bread every day. It fills you up, but it's not fun. Many people feel stuck, wondering if they will ever speak well because the ways they learn don't make them curious or excited. Now think about a different way. Think about the videos you love. They take you to the deep sea, tall mountains, or back in time to old places. You see great pictures, hear people talk, and learn about things that make you want to know more. These videos are great for learning English because they show you the language being used. You hear how people really talk, and the pictures help you understand even if the words are new. Learning becomes fun because you are learning about something you care about, and English is just a part of it. It's like finding a hidden toy when you are already playing in a place you love. This is the main idea of how we learn. We call it learning by what you love. It's a simple but strong idea. Learn English by looking at things that truly make you happy. Instead of remembering random words, you will learn words about your hobbies and things you enjoy. When you really like something, you want to understand it more. You will want to know what a word means or how a sentence is made because it helps you learn more about what you love. This makes learning last. You will naturally learn the special words that experts use, and you will understand how big ideas are explained with good sentences, all because you are curious and paying attention. This is a more natural and nice way to get better at English. This book will help you with this fun way of learning. We will show you how to pick videos that will make you excited. You will learn easy tips to find new words and sayings from what you watch. We will help you feel sure about understanding and using all kinds of English, from talking every day to talking about hard things. You will start to make sentences that sound good and clear, not because you memorized them, but because you saw and heard them used in a way that makes sense to you. We want your English learning to feel like an adventure, not a test. So, are you ready to use what you love to get better? Are you ready to trade boring books for exciting videos? Let's start watching, learning, and speaking English together. 1. Learn vocabulary with documentaries. Imagine you want to learn something new, like how to cook. You could read a book about food and how to cook, but maybe that feels a little boring. Now think about watching a cooking show. A chef you like is making a yummy meal. You see the food. You hear the chef explain why they do things. You watch everything happen. This is more fun, and you will likely remember the steps and the names of the spices better. Learning English words can be like this too. This is where learning by loving it works best. It's not just about learning words from a list. It's about learning words when you really want to know about the subject they are part of. Movies about real things, called documentaries, are like treasure boxes for this kind of learning. Think about it. If you love animals, watching a movie about the Amazon forest will give you many cool words you might not find in a normal English book. You will learn words like canopy, the tops of trees, undergrowth plants on the forest floor, biodiversity, many kinds of life, and ecosystem, how plants and animals live together. You learn these words because you are interested in the world they talk about, not because you have to. This strong link to what you love helps the word stay in your mind. Movies about real things are naturally full of words that belong to the topic they show. A movie about old Rome will not just say old buildings. It will use words like aqueducts, water pipes, amphitheaters, places for shows, legions, groups of soldiers, and emperors, rulers. A nature movie might teach you words like migrate, move to another place, hibernating, sleeping through winter, predator, an animal that hunts, or prey, an animal that is hunted. These are not words you hear every day, but they are very useful if you want to talk or write about these topics. When you hear these special words in an exciting movie, they feel important and useful. You see them, you hear them said, and you understand them because the pictures and the story help you. This is the power of seeing words in action. It's like giving your brain a helpful picture for every new word. Let's see how this works for someone learning. Think about Sarah. Sarah loved learning about space. She found normal English classes hard. Learning word lists felt like work, and she often forgot the words quickly. She felt stuck. One day, she decided to watch movies about space travel. She started with a movie about the robots on Mars. Suddenly, her English learning changed. She heard words like trajectory, the path something follows, propulsion, the force that makes something move, atmosphere, the air around a planet, and geology, the study of the Earth, as the filmmakers explained how to send a robot to another planet. She saw amazing pictures of Mars. The person speaking described how the robots moved and what they found. When a word like perseverance was used to talk about the robot's mission, it was more than just a word. It was connected to the great effort and determination shown on the screen. Sarah found herself stopping the movie, writing down these new words, and then looking them up. Because she really wanted to understand the story of the robots, these words did not feel like homework. They felt like keys to learn more about her favorite subject. Doing this actively is very important. It's not enough to just watch. You need to be like a word detective. A simple trick is to have a notebook or a note app ready. When you hear a word that sounds new, important, or interesting, stop the movie. Write down the word. If you can, write a very short note about what you think it means from how it was used. For example, if you watch a movie about old Egypt and hear the word hieroglyphs, you might write picture writing of Egypt. Another good trick is to use subtitles, but in a smart way. For people just starting, watching with English subtitles can help a lot. You see the word written as you hear it. But do not just rely on subtitles. After you watch a part, watch it again without the subtitles. See how much you can understand just by listening. This makes your brain work harder to remember the words you saw. For people who know some English, you can even watch a part with subtitles, then without, and then a third time with subtitles only to check if you understood correctly and to catch any words you missed. When you are actively looking for new words, you are not just taking in information. You are using the language in a deeper way. This is what makes learning by loving it so strong. Your brain is more awake, more curious, and more ready to learn when you are truly excited about the topic. The feeling you have for the subject helps you remember the words. You are not just learning a word. You are learning a word about something you love. Besides individual words, movies about real things also show you how to make complex sentences. Think about the talking in a science movie. You will often hear sentences like, "The careful balance of the living world is kept by many connected parts." This sentence uses a passive voice, is kept, and describing words careful, many, connected. When you hear sentences like this often about a topic you like, your brain starts to notice these patterns. You begin to understand how these sentences are used to give exact information and sound smart. Let's look at an example of a complex sentence. Imagine a movie about building the Eiffel Tower. You might hear someone say, The detailed design, which had been carefully planned for months, was finally made real by thousands of skilled workers. This sentence uses an extra part which had been carefully planned for months to give more information. It also uses a past tense that happened before another past time had been carefully planned. For someone just starting, this might seem hard. But by watching the movie, you see old pictures, drawings, and how big the project was. You hear the sentence spoken clearly. The pictures help you understand that the part, which had been carefully planned for months, is telling you more about the detailed design. You understand that the planning happened before the building started. Over time, by hearing these sentence parts in a meaningful setting, you start to learn them. You don't need to break down the grammar rules right away. Instead, you begin to understand how these complex sentences work without thinking hard. You see how they let people add more details, explain why things happen, and sound more formal or educated. The movie gives real examples that make these grammar ideas clear, making them much easier to understand and use later. This way of actively finding and learning words and sentence parts from movies about what you love is the main idea of learning by loving it. It makes learning feel less like work and more like fun exploring. When you are truly interested in the subject, your desire to understand and learn the language grows naturally. This is not about memorizing strange words from a book. It is about learning the language you need to explore the world and the subjects that interest you. Sarah, who loves space, found that after a few weeks of watching space movies, she was not just learning new words. She was starting to understand how scientists explain things. She could follow harder explanations and even began to guess what words would be used next. Words like orbit, gravity, celestial body like a star or planet, and interstellar between stars became familiar. They became familiar because she saw them used to describe the amazing universe she loved, not because she studied them hard. This personal connection made her want to learn more, creating a good cycle of being involved and getting better. So, how can you make this active learning even better? After you find new words, do not just put them in your notebook and forget them. Try to use them. You can write a short sentence or two about the movie using the new words. Or, if you have someone to practice English with, try to use these words when you talk. You could even try to explain something from the movie to someone else, using the new words you learned. This active remembering and using makes learning stronger. Another helpful step is to watch parts of the movie again. If there was a part with many new words or a sentence structure you found hard, watch it again. Sometimes, watching a second or third time helps you notice things you missed before. This repeating, in an interesting setting, is much better than repeating a word over and over by itself. The great thing about movies about real things is that there are so many kinds. Whatever you like. Old history, sea life, art, growing food in a good way, why people make choices, there is a movie for you. By picking things that truly make you curious, you are setting yourself up for a learning experience that is not only effective, but also very enjoyable. You are not just learning English. You are learning more about the world through what you love, and the English skills you get will be a natural, strong result of that exploration. This way of actively using movies for learning English means you are not just watching. You are a part of your own learning. You are using your own interests to help you learn. You are building a special set of words that are useful for your life and your dreams. And you are learning the complex ways English speakers share smart ideas. This base of understanding and learning language through things you care about naturally prepares you for the next step, using these new skills to speak with confidence. 2. Documentaries as language tools. Watching a movie about nature or history can be fun, right? You can see amazing places, learn about cool animals, or travel back in time, all from your comfy chair. But what if I told you this fun thing can also make your English much better? It's true. Movies like these are like secret helpers for people learning English. In this part, we will find out why they work so well and how you can use them to get better at English. Think about how kids learn. They don't usually read big books of words and rules. Instead, they listen to grown-ups, watch what they do, and learn by doing things. They hear ball when someone throws one, or hungry when it's time to eat. Words become real because they are tied to what they see, do, or feel. This is called learning by what you like. It means learning English by looking at things you already love. If you like stars, you watch movies about space. If you love old Rome, you find films about fighters and kings. The main thing is that you are not just learning English, you are learning about something that makes you excited. The English just comes with it. One big problem for English learners is hearing enough real, natural English. Books and classes are good, but sometimes the English in them can sound a bit not real. It's like learning to drive on a quiet, empty road. You learn the basics, but it's not like driving in a busy city. Movies put you right into that busy traffic. You hear English from real people in real life. You will hear people with clear voices explain hard ideas. You will hear experts talk about what they know, sometimes with different sounds when they speak. You will hear people talk about their lives, what they found, what they love. This is not just learning words, it's learning how words go together, how sentences flow, and the sound of talking. It's how people who know a lot use English to share important news. This is very good because it is real. It's how English is used in the world, not just in a classroom. Now let's talk about words. English has so many words and many are for special topics. If you like the deep ocean, you will hear words like bioluminescence, things that glow, hydrothermal vents, hot water holes, or abyssal plain, a flat part of the ocean floor. Remembering these words from a list is hard. You might know what hydrothermal means, but what is a vent? And what does it have to do with the deep sea? Movies fix this by showing you everything. When someone talks about bioluminescence, you see glowing sea animals light up the dark water. You see the light, you hear the word, and bioluminescence is not just a strange sound. It's the magic glow of life in the dark. Seeing it helps the word stick. You understand it by seeing it, not just by a meaning. This is much better than just reading bioluminescence. When living things make light. The movie shows you the living thing and the light. This seeing and knowing makes new words feel real and easy to remember, and this is what learning by what you like is all about. You don't have to learn words you won't use. You learn the words you need to know about things you love. More than just single words, movies are great for learning to make longer sentences. Think about a movie explaining how a volcano erupts. They won't just say, lava comes out. They might say, when a lot of heat and pressure builds up deep under the ground, hot liquid rock, called magma, is pushed up to the top and then comes out as lava. When a lot of heat and pressure builds up tells you what is happening first. Hot liquid rock, called magma, gives more information. Is pushed up to the top tells what happens next. And then comes out as lava tells what happens in the end. These are the kinds of sentences that can confuse you if you see them without a picture. But in a movie, you see the volcano erupt while you hear the sentence. Your brain links the picture of the erupting volcano with the sentence that explains it. You start to learn these longer sentence ways without trying. You see how ideas are joined with words like when, which, because, and so. You learn to use is pushed up the passive voice to sound more formal. This is not about memorizing rules. It's about seeing how good speakers use words to explain hard things clearly. You learn to make better sentences by watching and learning from the best. Maybe the best thing about using movies is how much fun and energy they give you. Learning a language can feel like hard work. You might spend hours doing grammar tests or memorizing words, and it can get tiring. You might even feel like you are not getting better. This is where what you like becomes your best friend. When you pick a movie about something you really care about, maybe it's how bees live, the secrets of the pyramids, or the future of power from the sun, you are already excited. You want to know what is happening. You are curious. This curiosity is a strong power for learning. You will pay more attention. You will want to watch a hard part again, and you will look up a word if you really need to know it to understand the story. This learning by what you like way makes learning an adventure, not a job. The more you like what you watch, the more you learn, and the more English you pick up without trying. It's a good circle. What you like helps you learn, and what you learn makes you like it more. It feels less like work and more like exploring an interesting world, with English as your helper. Let's look at an example. Imagine Maria, who is from another country and loves animals. She had trouble with English for a long time, finding books boring and getting lost in talks. She decided to watch a movie about penguins in a cold place, a topic she always loved. The person speaking had a clear voice, talking about the cold weather and how the penguins survive. Maria saw the penguins stay close together to keep warm, and the speaker called this collective thermoregulation. She saw the penguins jump into the cold water and heard words like forage, look for food, prey, animals hunted by others, and predator, an animal that hunts others. When a scientist talked, she heard more special words about how the penguins have babies and where they go. The picture showed the big ice, the rough water, and the penguins' long trips. Maria did not know every word, but the pictures on the screen helped her guess the meaning. She saw what forage looked like, the penguins looking for food. She understood collective thermoregulation, because she saw many penguins close together, their breath like mist in the cold air. The long sentences about their trips made more sense when she saw the hard journeys on the screen. She found herself watching parts again to catch a word or a phrase she missed, not because she had to, but because she wanted to know more about these amazing animals. Her love for penguins made the hard English words and sentences feel like puzzles she wanted to solve. This is the power of picking things you like to learn from. It makes learning feel like an active, exciting exploration, not just sitting and listening. The pictures in movies are a big help for words. When a movie talks about, for example, how plants make food, photosynthesis, you don't just hear the word. You see green leaves, sun shining through them, and maybe drawings that show how water and air turn into energy. This helps the word stay in your mind. You connect photosynthesis with green plants and the sun's power. This is much better than looking at a card with the word and its meaning. The image of a small ship going down into the deep ocean, with someone talking about the huge hydrostatic pressure, water pushing down at those depths, makes the idea of pressure feel more real. You can almost feel the weight of the water. The movie gives you a learning experience with both your ears and your eyes, which helps you understand and remember much better. This rich, connected learning is the main part of learning by what you like. Also, movies often have speaking that is not just useful, but also very well written. The words used by skilled movie makers and speakers are usually exact, clear, and grammatically good. They use different kinds of sentences to explain hard things in a clear and interesting way. For example, a movie about old times might explain how a pyramid was built by saying, to move the very big stones, which could weigh many tons, builders long ago found smart ways to use levers and ramps, which let them slowly build the structure. This sentence uses a part that adds detail, which could weigh many tons, and a part that explains what happened because of it, which let them slowly build the structure. By watching and listening to these sentences many times in context, learners start to learn these complex ways of speaking. They start to understand how these parts help the whole story make sense. This seeing and hearing of good sentences, spoken by people who speak well, is very important for becoming better at English. It helps learners go beyond simple sentences and learn to say and write more complex ideas. Basically, movies offer a natural, fun, and very good way to get better at English. They give you real English, words that make sense with what you see, and good sentence styles all connected to what you are curious about. By picking topics that really excite you, you use the strong idea of learning by what you like, making your learning time not just faster, but also much more enjoyable. Now that you see why movies are such good tools, the next important step is to learn how to use them well. After understanding why movies are great for learning English, the next thing to do is to learn the best ways to pick the right movies and use them to get the most out of your English practice. 3. Enjoy learning with your interests. Have you ever been so lost in a show you forgot you were trying to learn English? Maybe it was about deep oceans, ancient Egypt, or how to make perfect pizza. If so, you've already learned in a fun way. It's not just about watching something cool. It's about your brain learning easily and with joy. Think about it. When you really like something, your brain is like a thirsty sponge. It's awake and wants to learn everything. This is very different from reading a boring grammar book. When you are bored, your brain stops listening. But when you are amazed by space or a chef making food, your brain is full of energy. This energy is great for learning. You pay attention better, so you notice new words and understand how sentences are made. This is called learning by liking things. You use what you love to learn English. When you watch a show about something you care about, you learn English by exploring that topic. You will hear words about that subject. For example, if you love animals, you might watch a show about lions. You will hear words like mane, pride, savanna, and prey. These are not just hard words from a book. They help you understand the animals. They are useful words because they help you learn something exciting. Your brain thinks these words are important tools for understanding what you love, so it remembers them. This is how you learn many words about things you like. Your English will feel more personal and strong. It's not just about single words. Shows often explain big ideas with longer sentences. These might seem hard at first. But when you follow a good story or a cool explanation about something you like, your brain can handle them better. You don't just hear words. You understand how ideas connect. You learn how to put sentences together to share your thoughts. You learn how sentences sound and are built by hearing them used in ways that make sense. It's like learning to dance by watching someone, not just reading steps. You learn the pattern and feeling, and it feels natural, not like memorizing rules. This way of learning makes it an adventure, not a job. Instead of feeling like you must study English, you feel like you get to explore things you love. You are not bored in a classroom. You are on a journey, finding new things about your favorite topics. The English you learn is a key to more knowledge and fun. This good feeling, this reward from learning what you love, makes you want to keep going. You want to keep watching, keep learning, and get better at English. You are not just listening. You are actively involved, and that makes a big difference. Let's think about cooking. Imagine you love to cook and watch a show about Italian food. You watch for fun, but you also learn English. As the chef makes a dish, you might hear, "We'll start by sautéing the onions until they are translucent." Sautéing might be a new word, but because it's part of making yummy food, your brain pays attention. You see the chef do it and hear the word at the same time. Then, you hear about letting dough ferment for the best pizza crust. You don't just learn ferment. You learn its job in making the crust taste and feel right. The show might say, The long, slow fermentation helps the gluten grow, making a chewy crust. This is a longer sentence, but because you want to see how the pizza is made, you will likely follow along and understand how fermentation, gluten, and grow work together. You don't try to memorize these words alone. You see them used and they make sense. Your brain connects what you see, hear, and already know about food to understand the English. This is the power of learning by liking things. It makes learning easy by making it part of what you love. It shows that the things you already enjoy can be your best learning tools. When you choose to learn English through topics that excite you, you pick a way that works better, feels more rewarding, and makes you happier to become fluent. By using what truly interests you, you find a strong and fun way to learn English well. Now that we know why what you like is so important, let's look at how to find the best shows to start your learning. 4. Improve with complex language. When you start learning English, it's like learning to walk. You learn the first simple words: hello, thank you, I want water. This helps you begin, but soon you want to do more. You want to run and jump. You need more skills. It's the same with English. You learn the easy words and sentences. But what happens when you want to talk about stars, old Rome, or how a small seed becomes a big tree? That's when the real fun starts. And that's where watching shows about nature and the world becomes your secret helper. Think about this. You watch a show about the deep ocean. You hear words like bioluminescence, which means glowing in the dark, abyss, a very deep part of the ocean, or hydrothermal vents, hot springs on the ocean floor. These are not words you hear every day. They might seem hard at first, but because you are so interested in the glowing sea creatures or the strange hot springs, your brain is like a sponge. It's ready to learn these new words. This is called learning because you are interested. You are not forcing yourself to learn ocean words. You are learning about the ocean and the words come with it. They stick in your mind because they are part of something you like. It is amazing how fast your mind can learn special words when they are tied to what you love. Imagine you love history. You might watch a show about old Egypt. You will hear words like Pharaoh, a king of old Egypt, hieroglyphics, old Egyptian writing, dynasty, a family of rulers, and tomb, a place where a dead person is buried. These words are just for that topic. They help you understand history better. Because you really care about it, these words feel less like schoolwork and more like clues to a fun puzzle. You will remember them easily. Soon, you will use them without thinking when you talk or write about history. This happens because your brain sees these words as helpful tools to learn about something you care about. It's a much better way to learn than trying to remember long lists of words that don't go together. The special words become yours because they help you understand the world you want to explore. But it's not just about single words. Shows also use longer and more complex sentences. Have you ever heard someone say, "While the city grew for many years, it finally ended because of problems with nature and fighting"? This sentence is longer and has more parts than the city was old. It uses words like while, finally, problems, nature, and fighting. These make the idea clearer and more exact. When you first hear sentences like this, they might sound a little confusing. But here's the good part: you hear them again and again. They are always part of the story. You see pictures of old cities on the screen as the person talks about them ending. You hear about dry weather or floods as they explain the problems with nature. Hearing this many times, along with seeing the pictures, helps your brain understand how these longer, more complex sentences work. You start to feel their rhythm and understand how each part fits with the others to make a full, detailed idea. This is how you start to go beyond simple sentences. You learn that you can connect ideas using words like while, even though, because, and so. You learn how to use phrases like problems with nature and fighting to show that something has many causes. It's like learning to build with bigger Lego blocks. Instead of small squares, you get longer pieces, special connectors, and pieces with different shapes. These let you build much more interesting and detailed things. Shows about the world give you these bigger Lego blocks for your English sentences. Think about Sarah. She loves learning about space. She started watching shows about planets and stars. At first, the language was a bit hard. The scientists talked about gravity, space objects, and space rays. Sarah didn't know these words, but she was so excited to learn about Jupiter's storms or how a star is born that she kept watching. She heard the word space objects many times while looking at pictures of planets and stars. She heard gravity when they explained how planets move around the sun. The meaning was clear because of what she saw and heard. Soon, Sarah wasn't just understanding. She started using these words herself. When she talked to her friends about space, she would say, "Did you know that Jupiter is a giant space object?" Or gravity keeps us on Earth. She even started writing short descriptions of planets for fun, using phrases she heard in the shows. Her sentences became longer and more detailed. Instead of saying, "The sun is hot," she might write, "The sun, a strong star, gives off a lot of heat and light because of what happens inside it." This change happened because she heard complex language in a way that really interested her. The shows didn't just teach her words. They showed her how to use them to talk about complex ideas about space. This way of learning complex language through shows is very strong because what you see and hear together is very important. When you learn a new word from a book, it might be in one sentence, like the scientist studied the environment. That helps, but it's a bit boring. You might forget it. Now imagine watching a show about a forest. You see the green trees, the colorful birds, the bugs on the leaves, and the river. The person talking explains, "This green forest is a complex environment where every living thing, from the smallest bug to the tallest tree, helps keep things balanced." Suddenly, the word environment is not just a meaning. It's a whole world. You see it, you hear it, and you understand how it works. You see that it's not just about the plants, but also the animals, the water, and the air, all connected. This makes the word much more meaningful and easier to remember. In the same way, complex sentences become easy to understand when you see them used. Think about a show about old history. A historian might say, "Building the pyramids, an amazing job for that time, needed many people working together and a deep knowledge of math and stars, showing a very smart society." This sentence has a lot of information and uses special phrases like "an amazing job for that time" and "a deep knowledge." You hear the sentence while looking at pictures of the pyramids. You understand that the person is explaining how amazing the pyramids were to build. The way the sentence is put together helps show how complex and wonderful the achievement was. By hearing these sentences many times in different shows, you start to learn them. You begin to see the patterns. You learn how to connect ideas, add descriptive parts, and explain why things happen in a more advanced way, all because you have learned these patterns from interesting content. This method is like building a bridge. On one side, you have your everyday English, the language you use for simple things. On the other side, you have the more advanced English you need for school, work, or deeper talks. Old ways of learning can feel like trying to jump across this gap, which is often too wide. Watching shows about topics you love acts like a strong, growing bridge. Each show you watch, each complex sentence you hear and understand, adds another piece to that bridge. You're not just learning new words, you're learning the grammar, the style, and the flow of advanced English naturally. You are getting ready to understand difficult articles, join in smart talks, or even write your own papers and essays on subjects that are important to you. The great thing about this way of learning is that it makes learning advanced English feel less like work and more like an adventure. When you are truly curious about something, your brain is more open to challenges. You want to understand. This desire to understand is what helps you learn complex language. You're not just memorizing rules, you're seeing them used to explain interesting things. You're not just learning word lists. You're getting the exact words used by experts in fields that excite you. Let's look at a specific example. Suppose you are very interested in how tiny particles work, quantum physics. You might watch a show that explains the idea of superposition, where a particle can be in many places at once until someone looks at it. The person explaining might say, "This strange idea, called superposition, makes us question what we think is real," suggesting that particles are in many possible states until they are seen. Here, you have many complex parts. Special words, strange idea, superposition, what we think is real, many possible states, seen. Complex sentence. The sentence uses starting phrases this strange idea, called superposition, parts within the sentence suggesting that particles are in smart connecting words until. When you hear this while watching pictures that show the particle in different places at once, the meaning becomes much clearer. You might not understand the science perfectly at first, but you are learning the language used to talk about it. You learn how to use phrases like makes us question or suggesting that to explain complex links between ideas. This exposure makes you feel more confident. You start to feel that you can understand and later use this kind of advanced language. It's no longer a strange place. It's a land you are starting to explore and find your way around. This is how you truly get better with complex language. You're not just adding words to your memory, you're building a deeper understanding of how English works at a more advanced level. You're learning to hear and understand smart phrases and sentence styles. You're getting the tools to say your own complex thoughts and ideas clearly and accurately. This journey, driven by your own interests, changes language learning from a hard task into an exciting process of discovery. You're not just learning English, you're learning to think and talk at a higher level, all by following what you are curious about. Conclusion: you have finished our time together. This is a big win. Remember when learning English felt hard? When new words were hard to keep in your mind and long sentences felt confusing? We have found a new way, a better and more fun way to learn English. You have learned how to find special words, how to understand and use long sentences, and most importantly, how to make learning fun. You have seen how watching, learning from, and then talking about nature shows or history shows can make your English much better. The main idea we used is called learning English because you like it. Think about it. When you are really curious about something, like what is deep in the ocean, or old castles, or new robots, your brain is ready to learn new things. This is not just watching, it is being part of it. Your interest is like a magnet, pulling you to the show and making you want to know every word. Instead of trying to remember words by themselves, you see them in real sentences, with other words that make sense. This helps words stay in your memory. Feeling good about what you are learning helps you learn more. It makes learning feel like an exciting trip, not just work. And what is a good way to learn like this? Documentaries. They are made for exploring and finding out new things. They show you things in a way that is interesting and easy to see and hear. They make hard topics simple and fun. You have seen how nature shows have words like home for plants and animals, many kinds of life and animals that hunt. History shows give you words like king and queen, big changes in a country, and studying old things. These are not just random words. They help you understand these interesting topics. You have also learned how to understand and use the way experts speak. You have seen how things happen one after another, how things are different from each other, and how to explain things clearly, all in interesting stories. This way of learning is not just good, it is really fun. When you enjoy what you are watching, you do not even feel like you were studying. This fun makes learning work better, because your brain is more open and remembers things better when it feels good. Now you have a great way to keep getting better at English. The idea of learning English because you like it can be used forever. Your next step is to use this idea. Think about what you really like. What shows can you watch about those things? Keep looking. Watch new shows that make you curious. Listen carefully and write down things, not just words, but how sentences are built. Try to talk about what you have learned. Share what you know and new words with others. Do not be afraid to watch parts again or look up words you do not know. Your interest will show you the way. Imagine a time when you can talk about hard things easily, when special words come out naturally, and when you can understand even the most complex English talks. This time can happen. Remember, the most important thing is to speak. Use what you know to say what you think, share your ideas, and connect with people using English. Great job again for finishing this book and starting this exciting path to speaking English well. Your love for learning is your best teacher. Let what you like lead you, and your English will get much better. The world of documentaries is big and full of things to learn. Go out, watch, learn, and most importantly, speak with confidence. Your English journey is just starting, and it will be an amazing adventure.